And we are live.
Hi,
welcome,
everyone.
to, welcome to Federal Prison Talk. I got Jonathan. So I just did a video not 30 minutes ago. So, see,
I'm so sorry I missed it. I got back from work.
I would have rather had you on here, but this one will replay as soon as we're done. It instantly goes on YouTube. So, uh, anyways, hopefully some people come on here. I just texted a few people. They said they come back. We could get you some live questions, but this is Jonathan, guys. I did a couple videos with him before he went to prison, and now he is back. He got sentenced to a year and a day, right? He went to
Yep.
Devon's, Devon's, Massachusetts, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and he went to the camp, but it was adjacent to a medical facility, right?
Yes, it was adjacent to the medical facility. Yeah.
And out of a year and a day, how much time did you do at the camp?
About 7.5 months.
Okay, and I know. So let's. I want you to tell the whole story to everybody, but maybe we'll back up a little before you went into prison. A couple people are in the room too. Thanks, guys. And you guys can stop us talking, and I'll put your chats up if you guys are in the room, and you can ask Jonathan questions. So before you went to prison, how long were you on pretrial for?
I would say it's around maybe like a year or so that I was on pretrial. I had my sentencing date pushed back multiple times. It was around the holidays actually, so it was supposed to be in September and it got pushed back to January. So we just basically just postponed it after the holiday season last year.
So that whole time, I know I talked to you a little bit before you went in. You were going through it, right? Do you remember all
Yeah.
the and trying to write letters and your personal narrative you were working on real hard, talking to the judge and all that. Remember?
Yep.
Do you remember
And
not knowing how much time you were going to get before you got sentenced? You remember that feeling?
yeah, it was awful. It was a lot of anxiety that was pent up, and I was really relieved after. I mean, I didn't know how I didn't know how things would go, but I was kind of relieved that I knew. And I after I got sentenced, I went to the marshals this like the same day. I just really just wanted to get it over with. I set my self surrender date to 4 weeks after sentencing. Most people set it to like 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
I set it to 4 weeks because I wanted to get it over with. And next thing you knew, I went in. So
So let me ask you something. I just had a guy on here the last show I did. He's going to a camp, and his lawyer's telling him when he gets sentenced, he cannot self surrender. It's his first offense. He's out on the pretrial whole deal. I think his lawyer's wrong. I don't think his lawyer. If his lawyer done federal cases before, maybe he dealt with people going to the penitentiary or the mediums because they don't get to self surrender. But I don't see why they wouldn't let him self surrender. Do you think his lawyer's wrong?
I think I can't really say without. I don't really know. Depending on like it just depends on his case. Like um, past offenses, the likelihood that they think that he's not going to report. I mean, I go. A
But they
lot of
wouldn't
people
they
at the
wouldn't they
campus.
wouldn't let you out on pretrial to begin with if they don't think you're gonna if they think you're gonna run anyways. I mean,
Yeah,
he has no priors or anything, so it says.
there are a lot of high volume drug dealers at the camp I was at that actually got to self surrender. And there were also some people who I thought would have been able to self surrender that didn't get to self surrender. So I think it just really depends on the judge and how he or she, I guess, evaluates their case.
I got your first question, and then we'll get back to talking about your journey. TJ, who I've been talking to on the phone a lot, this is a perfect question for you because you were near. He may have to go to a medical facility. TJ says, was there any people there on mental health meds?
They do in a camp. You can get like uh, they won't give you Adderall or they won't give you like any. They won't give you any like serious like amphetamines or controlled substances. But like if you're talking about like antidepressant meds, you can get they do give out antidepressant meds. But if you for like serious mental issues, I guess like they would, I guess they referred people to the main facility. Like things that the camp couldn't handle would be referred to the main facility.
So
But
you were next to the MMC, is it called, or MCC?
FMC, the FMC. But
FMC. You were worried they were going to send you there. I remember, right?
yeah, the FMC is known for their sex offender treatment program. The sex offender treatment and the sex offender management program is what FMCs are known for, and also known for taking care of inmates who are in their final years of life, or inmates who are gravely ill and really need that support.
Kind of a death
so-
sentence. They go there to die, basically, right?
Yeah, it's basically, unfortunately, where where if you have like 100-year sentence or a life sentence and you're nearing your final days, or you have like a stage 4 diagnosis, then you'll be taken care of in an FMC. Or a lot of times, if you're going through sex offender treatment, you're going to be at an FMC.
TJ's got another question for you. Can you see it on your screen?
Yeah. So I went to a camp adjacent to the main facility, adjacent to Devon's medical facility. So it was a small camp with because of coronavirus, they capped it to 60 inmates.
60 at the camp?
Yeah, so everyone has their own cubicle, has their own room. Because of Corona, there's no sharing of cubes because there's no cells.
That's a small 60 people. I mean, did you guys have your own chow hall too in there?
Yeah, it was just we don't call it I've never heard it been called a chow hall.
Yeah, I know.
That's how you know
services, right? Dining hall.
Everyone calls it the dining hall.
Yeah.
Like no one calls it the chow hall. No one calls it chow. Everyone calls it breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Whenever we had a CO that went over the intercom and said chow or chow hall, we knew that they were stationed at the main facility. So,
all right. So let's get back to your sentencing day. And I know a lot of these guys want to hear what camp's like and all that, so we'll get through this. But tell me about sentencing day. What you remember, man?
Honestly, I remember going to my attorney's office, and it was short. It was less than an hour long. The U.S. Attorney's Office presented their argument, and we presented ours. And I gave my allocution, and the judge sentenced me. And then after that, I just kind of really wanted to get it over with. So I went to get fingerprinted at the marshals right away, and I started preparing to go in right away. And that was really it. I just really wanted to get it over with.
So you got the self-surrender. I get a lot of questions about that. What people can bring with them. Did you bring money with you?
It depends on the facility, I think. I mean, I think most facilities. I personally didn't bring cash. One issue that I did run into is I tried to Western Union myself money before I went in, and it got bounced back. So it didn't actually end up being deposited. You had
how long before you went in? That same morning or the day before, or when?
You can't Western Union money. You can't have money deposited in your account before you get there. Otherwise, it will be sent back or rejected.
I was able to do mine at 8:30 in the morning, and I showed up at 10.
You can do it the same day, but I tried to do it like literally a week before, and it didn't work out.
Right. Okay. So a week before. Yeah, that's what I wanted to get at.
So I ended up having it rejected, and I was sitting in SHU trying to get commissary, and I found out that my account balance is zero. So I was like, oh my God, what happened?
That sucks. Did
Yeah.
you have to go to the? Did you have to do time in the shoe quarantine? When
Yeah, it was 20 days in the shoe for quarantine.
And was that the worst of it? Was that the worst part of it?
To like, I think the worst part of now this is gonna sound cheesy, but I think the worst part of being in prison is having your freedom taken away, like being told, like not being able to eat what you want, not being able to go where you want, not being able to, like, it's a little, you realize that you're missing like the little things, like your friends and family, and being able to, I just guess I guess like being free, like that's the main thing. And at a camp, like most people were just missing their families. Like it just didn't matter if they were in the shoe or they were in a camp. Like being away from society was the punishment.
Do you remember what they let you bring in? Did you have some cheap shoes that you brought in, or?
You can't bring anything.
Okay, because mine let me bring in my
if you
own
have
shoes.
prescription glasses, you can bring like your prescription glasses, of course, but you can't, like, none of your own, and a wedding band, plain wedding. I think plain wedding band. No, I think you can bring a plain wedding band.
How about a piece of paper with all your contacts on it?
Yeah, I got to bring that. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So are they still quarantined people right now in prison when they get there?
I actually don't know. I don't know. Oh, they are no longer quarantining you to leave. I don't know if they're quarantining you to come in, but there's no longer quarantine to leave.
I just talked to Audrey. She's a woman. She's at Alderson, and she called me from the phone. She's been there about 10 days. She's in a quarantine range, and they have a TV and email and all that stuff there, but they got to stay there for, I don't know, she thinks it's at least a month before she can go out to the rest, go outside and do programs and all that stuff. So summer, I heard at Florence where I went, they're just letting you go right out to the camp if you're vaccinated.
Yeah. I think it really just depends on the region, like where you are, how bad it is there, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it really varies. It's the BOP is a big place, big network.
At camp, there's no gangs to join, right? How was the politics where you were at?
I mean, to be honest, of course there's absolutely no gangs in a camp, not at all. But there was kind of a little bit of race separation. I mean, there were a table. So at my camp, there are two tables where all the races sat together. So there's 2 tables.
I don't even know how you segregate 60 people.
You don't. Yeah, I know, right? Like, so anyways, we had an outdoor seating area, and then inside were was a table that were 2 Spanish tables, 1 black table, and then 2 tables where everyone sat at. And then the TV room there was a black TV, and then there was a Spanish TV, then there was a sports TV, and then there's no longer a white TV. That used to
longer one. Oh, they got that taken, huh?
So there used to be a white table at the camp. Now there's no longer a white table. The white table became everyone's table, and
the world's changing. It's like that outside here now too.
and then at the TV room, the white TV became everyone's TV.
Yeah. So
every other race gets their own TV and their own table, except for whites, who they have to share with everyone.
It's getting like that now. Every other race gets to be a race except the whites.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the way it was.
Yeah. So do you remember your first day when you finally got out of the quarantine?
Actually, people came over with like a welcome basket. Actually, like all the essentials.
I told you.
Yeah. So everyone came over with like a welcome basket. Showed me around. I met some friends. friends while I was there, of course. Like, you know, prison friends who helped me pass time. Like I learned how to play chess. They showed me some good book series. Like got into Michael Connolly books. You know, they were people to work out with, of course. And yeah, they came with I guess like a welcoming brigade. I was also the youngest one there, so.
Oh yeah, you are a youngster. Yeah, a lot of young guys don't get to go because you can't have more than 11 points, and if you're under 25, you start off with 8 points just for your age.
Yeah. If you self-surrender, that's you get 2 points off.
I thought it was 3.
Is it 3?
I think it's 3. It's 2
It's
for
3.
taking.
Yeah.
2 is taking accountability. When you take accountability thing, that's 2 points off that one.
No, that's 2. That's 2 points off your guidelines. That's not 2 points off your score. So if you self-surrender, that's actually 2. I think it's either 2 or 3 points off your score of where you end up being sent to.
You got another question up there. You see it? He wants to know how long you did.
I did 7.5 months.
On a year and a day, right?
Yeah, and then I ended up doing 2.5 months at a halfway house.
Okay, yeah, and we'll get to that halfway house because I know you want to talk about that, man. Yeah. So, so people were friendly to you when you first got there, huh? In a penitentiary, if somebody came up with a welcome package to you at a penitentiary, how would you take that?
I wouldn't even want to think about that.
Yeah, see, so there's a difference, guys. My point is, in a camp, people will come up and they'll give you shower shoes and a coffee mug and coffee, see what you need.
If someone gives you candy at a camp as a welcoming gift, they have good intentions. Like they actually mean here's this Kit Kat. I hope you enjoy it. Not here's this Kit Kat. Meet me in the bathroom at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, see, that's why I tell everybody there's a big world of difference between a camp and a penitentiary. And then, in between. Were you in there with guys who worked their way down from higher prisons?
Yeah, and I did notice that they did have a very institutionalized way of thinking.
Yeah.
They the biggest thing is they're easily disrespected. Like the one example I can give is that there's a certain way that they wanted that people from higher security institutions wanted people from lower institutions. I mean, the people that started off at a camp to act. Like they were like, they always say, if you were in a real prison, you wouldn't be able to do that. Or like, so it's like commissary becomes grocery. The hallway becomes a highway. Your bunk becomes your house.
Your house.
Terms like that. And like the one thing that I found absolutely insane is that in the computer room, like the law library, you have to close the door a certain way. Like when you're closing the door, they want you to close it, and then it's instead of the door like closing by itself and like making that noise, they want you to tap the door before it closes so that it closes ever so softly and doesn't make a bang noise.
I remember holding doors open for everybody. Like it was a common respect thing. Like
yeah.
You hold the door open for them. None of this, Yeah, that was a big respect thing.
Yeah, that and the courtesy flush is another big thing.
Let's talk about that.
People make a big thing about the courtesy flush when you're going to the bathroom or when you're going going number 2. When you go to the bathroom, number 2, they want you to flush continuously. Even if nothing drops in the toilet bowl, they still expect you to flush like literally every 10 seconds. Until you
hear that, guys? No, you can't have nothing floating in there, okay? You flush nothing, like he says, continuously. So there's constantly water going through, so there's no smell. That's what it's about. I know people are used to doing it in their own bathroom at home and stuff and whatever. That doesn't fly, man. Did you guys have the rule about you only piss in the urinal, you can't piss in the toilet?
The urinals where I was at was broken.
Okay.
So we only had like 2 working urinals. There were two entrances to the bathrooms and two toilets on each side were for number one. No, three, two. It was either three. Certain toilets were the number one toilets, and then other toilets were the number two toilets.
So in my prison, we had little spray bottles to spray the.
Yeah, there were spray bottles hooked everywhere. They were only available during the weekdays, not the weekends.
Okay. How about toilet paper? Did you have to bring your own, or did they have it in the toilet in the bathroom already?
You had to bring your own. Everyone was given. Everyone gets 5 toilet rolls per month, and if you need more, you just ask the counselor for more.
Yeah. I know. So, they were private, right? You had the doors closed in the toilets, right?
Yeah.
Shower too?
Yeah. Well, it's just all individual shower stalls. I think we had like 20 shower stalls.
Okay.
For only 60 people, so like there was never a time where you couldn't use the shower.
And you guys, like my camp, we could shower any time of the day as long as it's not count going on or something like that.
Yeah. That's the way it is too. But unless the shower is being cleaned, yeah.
Here's another question for you. Tyrone said power flush. He knows.
There was one person who literally murdered someone and worked their way down from a penitentiary to a camp. And there were a few people who worked their way down from a penitentiary with very serious violent records. But that's after they've already done like 10 to 15 years with the clean record and earned their way down all the way from, like if you have good behavior for like a whole decade and you have violence in your record, then you become eligible for a camp.
You know what's funny about murderers? They have a lot of trust in prisons. For some reason, they think they only did the one murder. So the COs don't have a problem with somebody who murdered. Now, a serial killer, that's a different thing. But as far as a gangbanger and a murderer, they would rather trust the murderer. Have you heard? You know what I mean? You know where I'm going with that?
No, not really. No.
Wow. Because they think like somebody murdered somebody in self-defense, like maybe, and
yeah, maybe it's something like that. I mean, there were people there who had really unique situations where, like they did have some sympathy.
Yeah,
like very circumstantial cases.
So, do you remember what your cubicle looked like? What, you got a locker, a bed? Was there a window? How many blankets did they give you? Did you have a pillow? That kind of stuff.
You could get a window bunk, but those were typically like there are people waiting in line for those window bunks, and mine was I switched rooms multiple times. Mine was literally like during Corona, since we had a room all by ourselves. We literally had it was an open cube, of course. So we had 2 lockers and I guess like a countertop, like the top of the locker, and we had room underneath. And it was just kind of like, imagine like an office cube instead with a bed in it. Okay. That's kind of what it is.
Yeah, that's kind of how mine was. So I got a question. L. Wicks, who was in prison? Both of us were. So Jonathan just got out of prison. So you must be new to the channel, but this is Federal Prison Talk. I done my time in federal prison. Jonathan just got out of federal prison. So we're talking about that. Just to answer your question, we both were in prison. We're not going back though, right?
No, absolutely not. There's no amount of money in the whole world that you could pay me to go back to prison. I literally, the point has gone across. That's it.
Here's something from Tyrone. Where is the toilet paper kept in Volusia County Correctional Facility that I spent 2 weeks in? For direct contempt of court, guess. He wants us to guess where the toilet paper was kept. In your locker? What's your guess, Jonathan?
In the CEO's office, I don't know.
So that's not a federal prison he's talking about. Volusia County
Yeah,
Correctional.
I couldn't imagine what.
Yeah, maybe that was kept in the CEO's office. I don't know. Well, tell us, Tyrone. I'm not sure what he means by that, but oh, here he says outside. Okay,
That's
outside.
it's a little odd, but ours was kept in the like a staff storage area where if you needed more toilet paper, you could literally just ask, even if you're in the chute.
Here's one, Elwitz. I feel like solitary would be better than open population. If I was going to a penitentiary, yeah, but not at a camp, Elwitz. What do you think, Jonathan?
Not in a wide. So this is not to encourage people to commit crime.
Yeah, please don't go commit a crime, guys.
In a camp where usually camps mine had 60 people, but usually camps have no more than like a couple hundred or a few hundred. When you have like a wide open now, camps have freedom of movement, so there's no controlled movement. You can go anywhere, anytime within the institution, as long as you can't go outside after sunset. But like if you want to go outside and like run the track or play softball or play basketball, as long as you're not working or it's not dark out, you can go outside. It's the population of lower security institutions is mostly people with professional backgrounds like lawyers, accountants, CEOs, stockbrokers.
Real estate fraud was big when I was in there. Yeah, realtors.
There are a couple doctors, a couple lawyers, a couple accountants that were there, and there was one guy who was the CFO of a multi-billion-dollar company that still exists today. That was there. Very high-profile people. So the population there is either people from higher security institutions who literally just did 10 years and earned their way down, or professionals.
We had ex police officers at my camp. There was about 10 of them. 10 ex cops.
Yeah. So when police engage and when local and state police engage in misconduct, they end up in federal prison.
Yeah, I guess I knew one guy in particular. He admitted he was a dirty cop, and he'd confiscate drugs and he sold them, and he kept cash from drug raids and all this stuff, and he admitted it, and he said, "Yep, that's what I did." He goes, "I got tired of busting these guys for having all this cash and thousands of dollars, and he wanted a piece of it."
Yeah.
He got 5 years. Here's a personal question for you. You see that one?
Yeah, mine was wire fraud. Mine was wire fraud, which is basically defined as any financial fraud that crosses state lines, that is done through anything to do with the internet that crosses state lines is wire fraud.
Wire fraud here too. I mean, that's a broad answer for people. They don't really like that. It's kind of like when people say, "Oh, what are you in here for?" A violation. Well, that's really not what they want to know more. But yeah, I'm wire fraud.
Everyone tosses it's a very common charge. Everything is tossed over under wire fraud. You steal money, you misappropriate money, you transfer money that's not yours. Anything to do with unauthorized taking of money is wire fraud.
Yeah.
But mine involved taking money from people's accounts, random people's accounts. So it falls under wire fraud.
Yeah, if you guys wonder about me, I was filing false tax returns for other people. They got their refunds. I took a 20% cut, but yeah, long story. But they didn't deserve the refund, and I didn't deserve to take my cut either. So I went to prison for that. That's another story. Here's another thing about toilet paper. Just saying, toilet paper is stacked on the outside windowsills beneath the roof that overhangs the sidewalk. It didn't get wet. You got a fresh roll of paper by providing any guard with the cardboard paper roll. They were keeping inventory on their paper, on their toilet paper.
Yeah, it sounds like a county jail that really didn't have a lot of money.
That's county jail thing. At my first year there, we had to line up like once a week, and you get 2 rolls of toilet paper. Then it was you lined up every other week, and you get 4 rolls. Then they just started putting the boxes in the building right by the door when you walk in. It was just help yourself. They got tired of it, so we just they just bring out the boxes. We had an endless supply. Yeah. All right. So tell me about the food, man. Can you? I mean, it's the same national menu for all prisons, but depending on who's cooking it, what
I
spices.
really don't want to encourage people to go to prison. So I kind of feel like this is kind of a topic where I shouldn't really talk about, especially if I feel like maybe the BOP would see this and then kind of like hammer down on the good environment we had. But the food. So we were adjacent to the main facility. The COs who didn't work at the camp would swing by to the camp and get food and then come back to the main facility. Even though they don't work there or don't work there, haven't worked there in a long time, they just swing by for free food. And like the camp kitchen was basically like the staff kitchen. Like we made food for staff all the time. Like whenever there was a staff appreciation day or something, and the assistant warden came by with like bacon, freaking like I was working in the kitchen, so the associate warden came by with like bacon, sausages, all like pancakes, all that kind of stuff. It was like, hey, we want you guys to make this big buffet for this like staff appreciation day. And so the staff kitchen literally used ingredients that we had and made them like literally a whole thing for staff appreciation day. And I remember I cut the potatoes. I'm very proud of that. I cut the potatoes for the whole staff appreciation day for the whole institution. Oh, secretary appreciation day for the whole institution. And we made pancakes, bacon, sausages, potatoes, home fries, and we got to have some of it after, which was pretty nice. And there were staff that would come in with like groceries from Hannaford, and they would be like, "Hey, can you guys make this? Like, I want a sausage." Like they would come and ask us to make omelets and shit for them, and like you'd be like, "Yeah, sure," you know. But so like, but we and there was like a pastry chef, and like we didn't really the camp didn't really have to follow the BOP menu. We were allowed to cross off the sides and replace the sides with something else.
Okay.
But we couldn't change we couldn't change the entree, but we could change the sides. So like say it came like it was mashed potatoes. We could make like we could give sweet potatoes or something. We could like change it up a little bit. And as far as the dessert was always almost always crossed off and replaced with something else. If it called for coffee cake, it would be like something like pineapple upside down cake or something creative that the pastry chef / baker wanted to make for the day. And all the staff would come in, the unit staff, the correctional officers would come in and be like, "Are you guys done yet?" And like they would just like get first dibs on like the cookies and the snacks and the pastries that we'd make. And like it was actually one of the programs. Like they wanted to do like training, like they wanted to vocational training. So people trained to do like pastry chef cooking and all that kind of stuff, and like it was one of the programs in the main institution as well. So and I actually ended up being a line cook after working in the prison kitchen. So I guess it did do some good. But they encouraged us to make meals that were appetizing, and the staff ate it all the time. So we made pretty good food.
Yeah, I went to the culinary school that they had there, and it was over at the 80X Supermax. But all the guards, staff would come and eat, and we'd make them special things as part of the culinary school. But the dining hall at our camp, other guards would come in there too, especially on Hamburger Day and Chicken Day. They would definitely
Hamburger Day. You know what they do in now hamburgers in institutions, and hamburgers in the BOP are supposed to be made using the oven. Like they're supposed to put hamburgers
on a big sheet pan, right? Yeah.
And put it in the oven, and it comes out tasting like absolute shit. At camps, they cook them on the grill.
On the grill, yeah, we do, yeah.
And for the longest time, for 2-3 months, they were cooked on the grill. And then our cook went to the shoe or something, and then got replaced by a cook who came from the main institution, who worked his way down. And so he was like, you know what? These guys here don't deserve to have burgers cooked on the grill.
Ooh, how dare you say that?
So, and he was an inmate too. And you know what he did?
Yeah.
He started cooking burgers using the freaking oven because he didn't think that people in a camp deserve burgers on a grill.
That's one of the inmates that thinks he's better than the other inmates.
Because he had to spend 6 years eating burgers every Wednesday from an oven. He thinks he made it so that everyone else, for the whole time that he was the cook, he made sure everyone ate burgers from the oven.
Yeah, I know people like that in the real world too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the chicken was baked, and that was fine. But
you could
get
get
fried chicken day too. Once in a while, they fry it, and they'd actually make the flour and the egg and everything. But whoever washed the pots and pans that day, that was the worst job on Thursdays. Pots and pans.
Yeah, that used to be my job actually. I washed the pots and pans for Thursdays.
Oh man.
For a while, yeah.
How much did they pay?
I got extra chicken. I got an extra piece of chicken to make up for that.
I know our pots and pan guy got $80 a month, but he was like level 4. He was the highest, grade 4. But $80 a month for washing pots and pans. How much did you get paid? The 12 cents an hour deal?
I got $34 a month.
Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't bad. I mean, now that I'm outside, $34 a month, that's pretty shit.
I know, man, but that's $34. That's some snacks and some coffee and stuff.
You know how many ramens that is? It's a lot of ramens.
Yeah. Here's a question.
There's ice maker in the dormitory. You could access the ice maker anytime. You get literally there's an ice machine.
Yeah, we had an ice machine too, but it would only fill up maybe 15 cups of ice, and then you got these guys that come with the trash bags. They want to fill the whole thing up because they're making.
There's a big. Ours was a big ass ice machine. During summer though, it did eventually run out. So I mean, because everyone came by using the ice machine all the time. But 99% of the time, there's an ice machine you can use all the time, 24/7.
Okay. Let's see here. Here's another one. Just Tyrone again. Let's see, something else that I was suspicious of. I got fluorescent orange pant and shirt when I had to turn in for a forest green outfit on my second day. The facility borders the forest. Yeah, when you're brand new, I think we had to wear some brown or tan clothes for a day or two until you get your greens. They call them greens. Did you guys have greens? Was that your uniform? Some people have brown. Some camps have brown uniforms. What was your the clothes you wear Monday through Friday during the daytime? What was your uniform?
So in our institution, we were allowed to wear regular clothes. They resembled clothes that you'd buy at Walmart. but our official uniform was green uniforms, and you would wear them to official functions. You'd wear them to, like, say, you'd wear them for like anything official. Like if you went to get your COVID vaccine, or you went to, I honestly just wear sweatpants and a t-shirt every day.
Even to work, you can wear that to work.
Oh no, you can't wear that to work. I wore kitchen clothes to work. But if you worked in like landscaping or something, you'd have to wear your green uniform.
Yeah. Okay.
But the kitchen people got a special kitchen uniform that they got to wear. So.
Yeah. So
it's better than bologna sandwiches.
Yeah.
We didn't get anything like that.
Got another question for you. I don't know if she's asking me or you. Hi, Mary. How you doing? I'm doing good now. Jonathan?
I have my own apartment. I am enrolled in college, and I'm going back for my degree. And I have another 2 years to finish college. I have a full-time job as a line cook. I work almost 50 hours a week as a line cook, and I go to school full-time as well. I'm pretty happy. I mean, I'm pretty content. I think I'm doing pretty well, and I work hard for my money. I pay for my expenses, and I honestly am happy with how I am. I just happy with life right now.
So you're turning it all around. And TJ, I'm going to get to you next. I just want to follow up Mary's. She wants to know how long you've been out of prison.
I was in for 7.5 months, and then I went to a halfway house for 2.5 months, and I literally just got out last week.
Last week. All right. Here comes the meat. Here's what TJ wants to know. You see that?
I hope you have a Merry Christmas too, Mary. Thank you so much.
Merry Christmas, Mary. Merry Christmas.
The halfway house, let me tell you, halfway houses are absolute. Halfway houses have more rules than the camp does. I was the only one at the halfway house from a camp.
From a camp. You're in there with all the thugs from the penitentiary, right?
Literally, we had pretty much everyone else was from a penitentiary. There was one guy who spent a month or two in the camp, but everyone else was from either a medium security prison, penitentiary, or they were from
Chomo.
Fort Dix, which is a low, but it's technically a low, but it's a high security prison.
Which one was that last one?
Dix. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that one.
They're either from Fort Dix, a medium, or a penitentiary. Most of them for penitentiaries. And let me tell you, people from penitentiaries, they're loony. They're really, really. There's after you spend 10 years in a penitentiary, they're really just.
I know, and a federal penitentiary, I think, is even worse than a state penitentiary. I don't know.
It is really, really bad. These people sleep with their boots on, because, and I'm like, why are you sleeping with your boots on? And just in case I need to beat someone up. I'm like, you're in a freaking. Do you know what I mean? They just have these instincts. They are so institutionalized. It's insane. I've watched so many people from the halfway house, so many, at least a dozen, not a dozen, but 5 or 6 people my first month got sent back to prison from the halfway house because they were so institutionalized. They thought they could go around literally threatening everyone. They were threatening the staff, saying that they were going to, do you know what I mean? They were just loony. They were
I know, and they demand that respect, and they got all their prison codes. Same thing at my halfway house, man. Half of them never finished their halfway house time. They got sent back, and we had 300 people in my halfway house. I saw at least 50 guys go back to prison from the halfway house.
I think they should go, before they shouldn't go from a penitentiary straight from penitentiary to a halfway house. They should at least like as they're winding down their sentence, I feel like they should go from a pen to a medium to a low. Like, I feel like they should work their way down the system first, serve time at a camp, and then go to a pen and then go to
a lot of those guys can't even handle a camp. And you know what they used to tell me their biggest complaint about a camper is that we get to sleep during the daytime. Because they said in the penitentiary, if we sleep in the day, somebody will come and shank them. But their biggest complaint is our lack of prison code rules. And
like, honestly, like there were so many people from Penn that would come to the camp and complain about people going to the camp saying that they don't know what real prison is. Now, like, listen, like this is like for us, the punishment of being in prison is being away from our friends and our family and missing our freedom.
Yeah,
that's the punishment for us.
Yeah,
we're not free. We don't have and we're away from our friends and family, and for many of them, we're away from their kids. Like for them, I'm away from the hustle. I can't, like I'm away from my gang. Like we don't think that way. Like do you know what I mean? Just being away from our family and missing our freedom and the small little things is what matters to us. We don't care about the hustle, and that's the way that people from a penitentiary think, and it's just very unfortunate.
I know. I've seen guys just at the camp say, I can't take it. And somehow get thrown back in the shoe. They want to go back to the medium. But they're so close to the door, and most of the people that work their way down in the camp won't even talk to a camper. They've got their own little clique that they find, and they don't want to.
Oh no, everyone talk to each other. I mean, even the people from higher security stations, everyone talked to each other. We actually had,
Yeah, you only had 60 people, so I had 400 inmates. So
everyone knew everyone, and if you had a problem with someone, then you could talk to someone who was good with someone who was good with them, or you could talk. You know what I mean? Like everyone, like kind of was interconnected. Like everyone either worked with each other or they played. Like we had softball tournaments all the time. We freaking, so.
25 cents at into our commissary, Tyrone.
It was 30 cents at ours.
Oh, it might have went up because I haven't been in prison in a couple of years now. So, thank you, Mary.
But yeah, it was. I really want to talk about the halfway house.
Yeah. Let's go back. I'll get through that. We'll get to the rest of the questions.
So the halfway house, let me tell you, it's meant to help you re-enter society. But if I'm being honest, I received absolutely no help from the halfway house. They gave me absolutely no help finding a job, no help finding housing, no help reintegrating into society.
Did they have like a bulletin board with resources and jobs that are hiring? Anything like
nothing.
that?
They helped.
Not even that.
Nothing. I got nothing. The only thing I got from the halfway house was free rent. That's all I got, and that actually helped me a lot.
Free rent. I had to pay 25% of my income.
The BOP has waived that during coronavirus.
Oh, they did. Oh,
yeah. So halfway house subsistence payments are waived during coronavirus. But besides free rent, I got absolutely nothing from the halfway house. Nothing.
You guys didn't have a job coordinator at your halfway house?
They could not find someone to fill that position.
Wow.
Very understaffed.
Was there guys working at factories that would kind of tell you that there's job openings? Did the other inmates at the halfway house help you find work, or were you just on your own?
I was completely on my own.
How about getting a resume together and using the computer to find work and all that? Did they give you any? Was there computers to use at the halfway house or anything?
Yeah, but I mean, it's hard. Like, they don't have enough staff to really let you use the computer more than once a week. They let you have smartphones unless you're a sex offender. So
yeah.
I managed a McDonald's before, so and I have a ServSafe, so it was easy for me to get a job as a line cook.
So how did you get your first job? Did you have to put in a pass to go on a job on work search? Did he
So
let you?
yeah, I had to ask for permission to go places, and I got a job working at Chipotle, and I don't work there now, but I got a job working at Chipotle, and they basically had to sign this like disclosure saying they knew what my crime was, and that they want to hire me anyway, and I mean the whole time I worked there, they never let me touch the money. I was only touching the food. So I
Oh
mean,
wow!
yeah. Um,
So my
uh,
halfway house, we had to have an email sent from the employer every week with our schedule. So we had to because we had to fill out a pass for our work schedule, get that approved, and if there was nobody there to approve it, you ain't going to work. Did you guys have that? Do you have that kind of problem?
so for us, that was never an issue. If we needed to go to work, we could go to work anytime. There was always someone on call 24/7 to make sure that you could go to work if you needed to go to work.
Okay. All
Like,
right.
say your employer texted you last minute and said, "Hey, can you come to work? I really need you to come to work." Then you could go up to the desk and be like, "Hey, I need to go to work," and there would be someone there who could, like call your employer right away and be like, "All right, you can go to work."
We weren't allowed to do that, and that happened to some people. They get called in and said, "Sorry, you got to, 3 days ahead of time. You got to put a notice in." And yeah,
Yeah, for us, like I think it varies by halfway house, but
right,
mine was stressed the importance of going to work. They were like the director of the house, like their attitude was, it's a work program. If you need to go to work, you can go to work.
now what about people that can't find a job? What happens at the halfway house?
They're not really making a big deal about it now because
Oh
it's
yeah,
coronavirus.
right.
So like you don't get sent back for failing to find a job during the coronavirus. But if this wasn't a coronavirus, eventually, you'd be in violation of the program conditions for failing to find a job. But listen, like honestly, there's no reason like there are places that literally hire everyone. Like I'll give you an example. Dollar Tree will pay you $10 an hour. They'll hire anyone. They don't care if you raped 1,000 kids. Dollar Tree will hire you for $10 an hour.
Okay.
Pretty much, yeah. Like the worst of the worst people got hired at Dollar Tree. So yeah.
So next time I go to the Dollar Tree, and I've been going there because I got this new. Yeah, I'm gonna be looking at. I'm wondering now.
Yeah, the people who
So
can't get
you're trying
hired
to tell me
anywhere else.
they hire chomos, is what you're saying?
Well, I mean, they hire sex offenders.
Yeah.
Um, they hire everyone. Honestly, like all this like Dollar Tree was a last resort. At my halfway house, if you couldn't get a job anywhere else, you go to Dollar Tree.
Okay. All right.
But
All
yeah.
right. Let's see here. Here's a question from Mary.
I was scared when people tried to stash contraband cell phones and other things that weren't allowed near my room. Like I was like literally scared to death that I was gonna get in trouble for it. And obviously I just couldn't like run and freaking tell the COs. I didn't like I didn't want to get beat up by the people who came from higher security institutions. But there were people there who smuggled in alcohol and had contraband cell phones, all that kind of shit. And like there were a couple times where it was like near me, like it was like near my room where people were using it near my room, and I got like really scared that like they were gonna get like I was gonna get in trouble for it. So, but besides that, I wasn't scared of like people. I wasn't scared of being beat up or anything, but I was just scared of getting in trouble generally.
I had a problem like that too. I had a cellie. He had a cell phone, and his buddies would come over, and there'd be two of them in the room, and him, all three of them talking on a cell phone, and I'm laying on my bunk. So I'd leave and go watch TV or something. But I mean, they were doing it every night. And sometimes I'm get off work, I'm tired, and I'd wake up and they're in there talking on cell phones. And it's like if the guards come by, man, and these guys all got cell phones, and I'm just sitting there on my phone, I'm just as guilty. But, I ain't saying nothing because, we don't do that. But I didn't like it, so I finally found another cellie. I switched, I was able to switch cells, but and the
They
guy
took
was
that very seriously, by the way.
he was a great roommate, but he didn't want to give up the cell phone. What'd you say?
They take that very seriously. Now
Yeah,
there are certain things that like if you break there are certain rules that if you break in prison, like it's not that big of a deal. Like for example, like if you shower at 3 a.m. in the morning, you're technically not supposed to shower at 3 a.m. in the morning. But like if you shower at 3 a.m. in the morning, or if you don't wear your mask sometimes, like those are the kinds of rules that you can break, and it's not a big deal, even though like you're not supposed to break rules. But like those little petty little things, like doing your laundry at midnight, or showering at 3 a.m., or like sometimes not wearing your mask, those things are are frowned upon. But things like having a cell phone, having a cell phone, bringing things in from outside, disappearing, alcohol, drugs, anything like that is like very serious. I would just like not get involved with any people who are involved in anything you're not supposed to do.
Yeah, I hear you, man. You want to go home. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very tempting because when you're in a camp, there's no fences, there's no gates, there's not like literally you walk out the door, there's no controlled movement. You walk out the door, and the road is right there. You literally walk out and wide open. There's a road right there.
Yeah.
And
so you don't need guards to bring anything in. You just walk to the road and get it yourself.
And half the camp have jobs that are like at the other institution. So my second job, they gave me 2 jobs because there were only 60 inmates, was to clean the outside of the warden's office. So I would actually walk to the main institution from the camp. So I was actually allowed to walk, on public roads and stuff and go to the main institution. Like there was nothing stopping me from like, disappearing to the nearest convenience store, the nearest motel or something. But I never did that because I didn't want to get in trouble. And also I didn't want to break the rules. You know what I mean?
I hear you, especially when you're a short timer.
And there were a lot of people who, in order to do their jobs, had keys to government cars, like trucks, cars, SUV, vehicles that they needed to do work involved having access to keys to cars.
I know. I found that amazing. Driving all kinds of vehicles, and yeah, I know.
There's some people
who have power tools.
Yeah, there were literally people who would go like hop in a car and drive to Dunkin' Donuts and come back, and like it's like that's really escaping in a government car. They just don't care.
Yeah, they don't care, man.
But yeah, it was wild.
Did you guys have you had a town driver then? I guess.
Yeah, we had 2 town drivers and a commercial driver. So there was a commercial driver that was responsible for driving the trash truck, and
we had a guy too like that, and he never. Every time he came back, he had things with him. I'll just put it like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, because they're allowed to drive. These people literally drive across state lines to the freaking airport and come back.
All right,
yeah, let me tell you, the healthcare system in the prison system, even the federal prison system, absolutely sucks. Like,
yeah,
what do you call a doctor who graduated last in his class?
Oh, last in his class? You still call him doctor, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. What do you call a doctor that graduated last in his class? You still don't call him a doctor. Like the healthcare system and the BOP or any prison system absolutely sucks. So like, don't go to prison because the healthcare sucks.
Yeah, if you get sick in prison, man, you're fucked. I mean, well, I don't know what's going on with the.
I asked to see a dentist in the halfway house for 2 months and didn't get authorization to see a dentist until a week before I was supposed to leave.
I heard of people waiting on a surgery, right? And they lined up the surgery after their release date, and they actually made them stay, took away their good time, and so they could get that surgery that they were waiting a year and a half to get. You know, that's the feds for you.
Yeah, so there's just really all these things pile up on, like, I mean, other than learning your lesson and not, I mean, I'm deterred from doing anything that would send me back to prison because of all these things.
Mary's got kind of a halfway house question. What about your family? Can you stay with them instead of halfway house?
So the thing is, in the federal system, you're allowed to spend, because of the Second Chance Act, you're allowed to spend pretty much an unlimited amount of time of your. You're allowed to spend an unlimited percentage of your sentence.
10% of your sentence on home confinement, I think. Is that right?
The maximum amount of maximum amount that you're allowed to spend on home confinement is 10%.
10%.
There's no limit to the amount that you're allowed to spend in a halfway house. So I got 25% of my sentence at a halfway house. So I could have spent 10% on house arrest with my family, or 25% in a halfway house. So I chose 25%.
Here's a question from Darwin. I think this, remember I was telling you about, says, I don't have any offense, but they told me I can't surrender. So what is the process after the marshals take you from the court until you get to your destination? I'm looking at 4-year sentence. It's not good, man. I don't know why they're not letting themselves surrender, but
so basically, like, this is kind of a really bad situation. If the marshals take you into custody, they can bounce you around from place to place to place to place to place until you finally get to your destination. And it really sucks because, for example, you could be in New Jersey, and then the next day you could find yourself in Pennsylvania, and then the next day you'll be in Texas, and then the next day you'll be in Colorado, and then you might end up back in, like, New York somewhere.
yeah, until you get to like Oklahoma City, where they actually finally find your destination, but then you're back, you're shackled on buses or Con Air, and
being in transit,
you're not gonna
especially with the marshals, being in transit in the federal prison system absolutely sucks because it's so big. It's not confined to one state. They'll bounce you all over the country until you finally reach your destination.
Yeah, you won't get mail. You won't
the
get
whole entire time.
commissary. Yeah,
You'll be shackled the whole entire time, made to eat literally freaking bologna sandwiches while you're still shackled on a bus.
Yep.
That's really, like, imagine, like, literally having your hands like this and having to, like, eat a bologna sandwich while still shackled. and that's your meal 3 times a day.
Oh yeah, you got to go to the bathroom like that too.
Yeah, like freaking that's like, it's not just bad prisoners. It's literally anyone in transit. Like, even if you're transiting from like a penitentiary to like a low, or a penitentiary to medium, like that's just how you go into transit. Like,
yeah,
that's just transit in the BOP. The if they like you, they'll give you a furlough transit. So,
I've
like,
heard of that. Guys coming like they came from California.
but that is very, 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 very hard to get, and it's almost never, ever, ever granted unless you're going to a halfway house. Like, you will almost never get a furlough transfer. That's so hard to get. That's basically that's like your parents or like your family member or whoever picking you up for the institution and driving you to the next institution rather than you being shackled on a bus.
It's rare, but I know guys that go from camp to camp because there's no RDAP at their camp, so they came to my camp, and they would let them furlough, but they're already in a camp.
Yeah, that's a little different.
A little different, but
generally they never grant furloughs. Furloughs is a big no-no.
TJ's saying it's called diesel therapy. Yeah,
that is what they call it. Yeah,
that's what they call it.
It's very. I mean, it's. Yeah.
Hi, Annette, by the way. Let me get back to her real quick. I want to say hello from Canada. Wow, we're international now. Hi, Annette.
Hello.
And here's a guy, he's self-surrendering tomorrow, man. Polito Bambino, tomorrow. Where are you going? What are you going to a camp? How long are you going to do? You got some advice for this guy? He's surrendering tomorrow.
I don't know where he's surrendering to. Where are you surrendering to?
He's been on here before, but I can't remember where he said he was going. I'm sure he'll tell us. Tell us again where you're going and for how long. Harry Annette says, what is your take on prison reform? Do you think it will work in the North America, U.S.? This is the lady from Canada.
Prison reform.
I mean, that's
so.
That went out in the
70s. Donald Trump signed a prison reform bill in 2017.
Right.
For the First Step Act, and it's the end of 2021, and it's not yet fully been implemented. In fact, I do not know of anyone who has gotten out early because of his act. Like, a law that was passed 4 years ago is still not getting people out early.
The only thing it does is we used to get 47 days on our good time. Now you get 54 days. So they went and recalculated all that. So instead of me getting 6 months halfway house time, they let me out of the halfway house a month early. But that's not
really because when you're a halfway house, they still call you an inmate.
Yeah, you still call me an inmate.
Still in custody.
Yeah,
but
you're right.
You around.
Nobody's getting credits for that First Step Act. Nobody's getting credits or time off on going home early because of that.
And the prison system in the U.S. is very complicated because, like, I would say 90% or more of, I don't know what the actual statistic is, but most people are in custody by the state. And so, and I talked to Sean about this before. In the state system, it's like a county judge in the middle of nowhere, like a county judge in the middle of freaking Kentucky can sentence you to life in prison for, like, just a small minor crime in Kentucky that's not a crime somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, it's just in the federal system, they make an attempt at, like, uniformity with, like, guidelines and all that kind of stuff. And like in the state system, like, I'm on probation right now in the federal system. Probation in the federal system is part of the judicial branch. It's part of the court system. So when you're on probation in the feds, you're being supervised by a division of the courts. When you're on probation or parole in the states, which is 90+% of cases in the U.S., you're actually being supervised by the same people who imprison you. Like, you go into prison, like, that's managed by the Department of Correction, or in Canada or whatever, it's like the Ministry of Justice or whatever it is. And then you get out and you're still managed by the same department that imprisoned you. And that has, like, a motivation to send you. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're still within the same system. Whereas when you're in the federal system, when you get out, you're the probation department actually, like, they want to help you. They want to see you succeed in society. Like, they're not part. Like, technically, they're not part of the government. They're part of the judicial system. They're part of the courts. They answer to the courts. They work for the courts. So it's a little bit different. So I'm actually very fortunate to have, like, a very, like, a supportive system. Whereas, like, if I was, like, in state custody, I'd be supervised literally by the same people. I would still be part of, like, the Department of Corrections. So, I mean, I think that it's unfair to my benefit, but I feel like the justice system in the U.S. is generally very unfair.
You learned so much, man, because I knew you before you went into prison, and you had all these questions. Now you can answer them all, man. Look at all the knowledge that you gained going to prison, man.
Yeah, I feel like I've totally become, like, a different person, like, meeting so many people there and seeing people from all different backgrounds. And I guess, like, I've learned so much, and I feel like I have a different take on life now. I appreciate the small little things. Like, I appreciate being able to go to, like, eat whenever I want, like, being able to wake up when I want, like, going to a job and actually getting paid a living wage. and you know, just being able to see my family, being able to see my friends, being able to talk to my friends and family when I want to, and not during 15-minute calls. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's those small things that I appreciate, and I'm more appreciative of those things now than I was before.
Oh, here's his answer: Milan, Michigan, 51 months, and then
Is that a state sentence?
huh?
Oh, FCI.
FCI, low security. So you go to low, it's not too bad. 51 months, are you getting RDAP? Because that can take a lot. I had a 52-month sentence. I only did 27 months in the prison camp with RDAP. So I don't know if he's getting RDAP.
By the way, if you get RDAP, you're not allowed to drink when you get out.
I know. I can't drink. It's part of my special conditions. And here in Albuquerque, all the probation officers test for alcohol in your urine. They go back 5 days. So if I just talked to a guy, he told me about his buddy that he drank, and 3 days later he got called in to piss, and they violated him, man, for alcohol. So he's
That's a no bueno.
in the county jail right now, awaiting to see what the judge is going to do.
That's awful.
Yeah, one drink, man.
But if you're not on RDAP, you will be allowed to drink. I mean,
Yeah, like you can drink not to excess, whatever that means.
Not that. The day of my release from the halfway house, I did go to the local bar, and I don't know what not to excess means, but I kind of felt like I was wanted to sing with the karaoke guy on stage.
Oh man, I missed it. I used to love going to karaoke bars, drinking, and all that.
Yeah.
Sometime in the future, man. What do you know about? You ever heard of Milan in Michigan?
Honestly, I have never heard of.
I've never heard of it either. So
no.
Yeah, I don't know much about. I know Michigan's gonna be cold, man. God, it's gonna be cold. Did they give you
Lowe's? I do know something about Lowe's though. Lowe's are typically, honestly, Lowe's are either people who have longer than a 10-year sentence.
Yeah.
If you have longer than a 10-year sentence, you can't be at a camp.
Right.
Or like your points are slightly higher, so you're at a low.
You have detainers, you can't go to a camp.
Yeah, that's true. That's also true.
Sex offenders can't go. Violent charges, some.
You can go to a camp on a violent charge.
Depending on what they are. I mean, if it's assault on a police officer, I don't think you could go.
No, but there was someone that had a murder charge that was at my camp. But that was after he spent like 10 years at a medium. So.
Yeah. What do you know about gun charges in camps? Because we had a lot of guys that had gun charges, but I don't think they used the gun in the crime. As part of the crime. If
you have a gun charge and a gun was not used violently in your offense, you can go to a camp, I believe.
Right.
Because there was someone in my camp over a gun charge, but that was because he was a professional gun manufacturer, and he didn't register the way he had a very technical crime. Like, he was a gun manufacturer, but he didn't properly stamp all the he didn't manufacture them the right way, or he mixed some pieces around, or it was some kind of very technical crime that he got convicted of.
Yeah.
But he ended up at a camp. He was a non offense. Like, he was literally manufacturing guns the wrong way, or he didn't. I don't know, but he was like a licensed manufacturer that just did something.
So now that you've been to prison, through the halfway house, and I talked to you before you went to prison, all this, in a nutshell, how was it? I mean, you were able to get through it, right? I mean, how you feel after all this is done?
I feel like I've learned a lot. It was an experience. I mean, it was definitely not worth the felony. Let me tell you that. But I have a job I'm happy with. I'm a line cook. I have my own place. I'm going back to school. My life is on track. I'm very happy with the way that with the direction that my life is going in. So I honestly couldn't be happier.
Good. There's another question for you. You see that one there?
Honestly, uh, there were times where I thought that time passed slow, but if you get into like a daily routine, I know that sounds really cheesy, but if you get into a daily routine of getting up and going to work and working out, most people do that. They have a workout routine, and then they read books and stuff. What I did was I went to work for 8 hours in a day. And then I spent a lot of time learning. I learned to play chess, and I got really, really good at chess. And so I also worked out for a bit. I had a daily workout routine for a bit. I played chess. I read sometimes. When the Celtics were playing, I'd watch TV, watch sports. Sometimes watch the Bruins, and it passed. Some days that it passed by slow, and some days it didn't. I would say when the NBA season ended, time kind of passed a little bit slower. But as it got, but yeah, it went by relatively fast. It was only 7.5 months, but there are some people that say that 5 years passes by pretty quickly. So
Yeah, I mean, I did 27 months. It went by. 1 year went by really quick. Like the year in the middle time. The closer I got, the longer to the door, the longer it seemed. But it went by fast in the beginning, slow in the middle, and fast at the end, I guess. Here, what's this? He say? No, my case involves guns. That's probably why he went to the low security, I guess. Whatever that charge there is. And TJ says we don't know the codes. No, we don't. I don't. I didn't hang out at the law library that long. How big was your law library at your camp? Well, ours was pretty small, and we had 400.
ours is really small. Barely had anything in it, to be honest. It was trash. Like the people who really, I mean, there was actually someone who spent all day long in the library, all day long in the law library. By the way, guys, this almost never happens.
There's always those guys, yeah.
He spent all day long in the library, every single day, for months, and he beat his case and got resentenced to time served, and he literally beat his case from spending all his time in the law library. It was insane. And,
wow.
So
it was worth it. Wow. Did you guys have free weight piles at your camp?
We did not have free weights, like actually official free weights.
Yeah, they're taking those away, I think, from a lot of places.
But there were inmate created free weights, though.
Yeah, and I'm sure you guys had we had exercise bikes and treadmills and all kinds of equipment like that to work out with. Did you have a gym at your camp?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. How many inmates does it normally hold? You said there was 60 there. How many if it was full? How many would it hold?
Maybe like 10.
Huh? 10?
10.
How about a music room? Did you guys have guitars?
Yeah, that was in the chapel.
That was in the chapel only. Okay, all right.
Yeah, they closed down the gym and the chapel because people would take apart the machines and hide stuff there. People hid cell phones in the chapel all the time, so they closed down the gym and the chapel. They were only available with staff supervision.
Wow. Yeah, they were hiding cell phones in the Bibles in the chapel where I was at, in the Qurans and all the religious books. They hide their cell phones in there.
Yeah.
All right. What else do you want to talk about? It's been a while. It's been an hour and 20 minutes, man. I'm getting ready to go make my dinner, but you got some final words you want to say to people out there? Advice?
I would say honestly, if you're in a legal situation, I would try to look at it as a learning experience. Try to think about don't think about like what you could have done before. I would just say really, just I guess like don't think about what you could have done before to get away with it, but like rather like think positive. Like what can I get out of this? Like how can I learn from this? How can I, because like the past, it's already over. Like think about like this is your life now. Like you're gonna be a felon, like unless like you get a pardon, but unless you're one of those people, you're gonna be a felon. Like this is your life now. What are you gonna do to move on from this? How am I gonna spend my time? How am I gonna be productive during my time? And when I get out, what I'm gonna do? What am I gonna do? I spent like literally my whole time in prison planning for my release. Like I was reading, I was I was being productive, and I was literally thinking about my future the whole way through. And I was always in touch. There are people who literally go like they lose, they get out of touch with reality. They literally become immersed into prison culture, and those are the types of people who don't survive in the real world. When you go into prison and you get immersed into prison culture and you get out and you still think as if you're still in prison, those are the people who get sent back. Those are the people who don't survive in a halfway house when they get to a halfway house. You want to like, people will tell you don't do it, but like your mind, like even though like you're inside, I would keep at least part of your mind on the outside. Like always think about like where you're going to be headed to, because eventually you are going to be released. You are eventually going to be a part of society again, and you're going to need to contribute meaningfully to society in order to be a part of it, and in order to like grow and prosper, and be able to like survive in society without committing crime, being a detriment. So what I did was, I took advantage of my past history with working in restaurants, and I became a line cook. And the whole time I was in a halfway house, I looked for jobs. I interviewed with different places and found a job, a good job as a line cook, and got my own place. I went back to school, and I literally planned this the whole time I was in camp. I planned what I was going to do, how I was going to do it, and I got out, and now I'm reaping the rewards. So I'm hoping to graduate in 2 years, and hopefully get back into working in business. And I just really, the advice that I would give to other people who are facing incarceration right now is to just always keep your eye on the future, keep your eye on the prize, don't get immersed into prison culture, and always think about how you can improve in the future, and just literally be I guess, what can you do to be a better part of society? Because eventually you will re-enter society, and you have to be ready for it.
Those are some good, wise words of wisdom there, John. So I want to thank you, John, and come back. I hope to have you back on here again. I'm sure we got other topics and stuff to talk about. I appreciate you coming on the show now. Thank you for when you came on here before. I think we did 2 videos before you went.
Yeah. I know we did one. We did one. It was the 3 days before surrender one.
3 days before surrender. Okay. We just talked a lot on the phone. So, man, thank you so much for everything, man. You've come a long way. You got all this knowledge now, man, that you didn't have before. So,
thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on your channel and share some insight with your viewers. And for those of you who are looking at going inside, I really wish you the best of luck. I hope you make the best of your experience, and I hope that you come out a better person, and that you've learned from it. And I really wish everyone the best of luck, and I thank you for giving me this time to share my experience. And thank you so much, Sean.
Thank you, man. And I'll have you back on again. And we talk all the time, so good luck to everything, man. Have a great night, all right?
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Okay.